are your hosts.
What's going on? Nick, Smitty, myself. Matt will join us in a couple minutes. He ran out of hair gel. Had to go get some LA looks medium hold for today. Hey, new edition. We're trying it out. The Insiders Tailgate Show Week 12 preview. Apologies for the late start. We're working through some kinks, but we got it. We're ready to rock. Nick, Smitty, what's going on, fellas?
Hey, Saturday morning. Great day of college football. Starts in a couple hours. I mean, what can I complain about?
Hey, Saturday, you just brought up LA looks. You got to love the day. Let's get after it. Let's have some fun.
Speaking of LA, we'll just talk about the game last night, UCLA with Washington. I think it's a good segue. Washington pretty much dominated the whole game. What's your thoughts in that matchup? Real quick.
Yeah, I stayed away from this one just because I thought Washington was better, but UCLA has been surprisingly playing well recently, and maybe they weren't as bad as we thought. Maybe they weren't as bad as we thought just because we saw them get blown out, but it was like you look at their schedule, it was like Indiana blew them out. Penn State blew them out. It was like some of those like bigger teams that are now in the top 10, and then they beat Nebraska. They beat, I believe, was it Wisconsin or Iowa? That's who it was last week.
Yeah.
So I stayed away.
Yeah.
Rutgers, that's right. And so I stayed away. Glad I did because I would have been on the UCLA side. Washington just, and you could tell like that was their fight for a bowl game. They have left on their schedule is just Oregon. So it's like if you lose that game, you're probably getting beat by Oregon, and then you don't make a bowl. So they're at home, something to play for, an old kind of Pac-12-ish rivalry, if you want to call it that. But yeah, they flat out outplayed them. So that was actually good to see from Washington.
Yeah, good fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gave it out. I was on the under in that game with a late touchdown there. That was kind of tough. My other play was the winner last night with Texas San Antonio money line. But yeah, it was a tough one because that was I think it was a total of 21 points, I think, in the fourth quarter that was scored. So that was tough.
Sean, always a pleasure to have you at the tailgate with us. Good morning and happy Saturday to all you fine gentlemen. Hopefully you're doing the same. Get your boy Matt in check. He's got to have that second container of gel ready to go. It's causing problems for us. So next time you see him, go ahead and send him a parting ways gift of another container. But we're going to move forward into today's game. We're going to start. We got number 20 Clemson playing Pitt. Pitt 2-game losing streak at home hosting Clemson. Let's get your thoughts, Nick, on this game. Obviously, Pittsburgh looked great for the first, 8-9 weeks of the season. It seems like teams are starting to figure it out, starting to shut that offense down. It's been pretty lackluster. Clemson lost, blowout fashion. Week one, they've kind of had a better season, I think many predicted after watching that game against Georgia. It seemed like things are going downhill, but here we are. They're 7-2. They're ranked. Give me your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, I'm mad at myself on this one. Earlier in the week, I heard kind of rumors that Eli Holstein was going to be out. The number was 9 for Clemson. Really mad I didn't take that because now it's jumped up. Basically today it's like 12 and a half almost now that he's been announced out for Pitt, their starting quarterback. I said a couple weeks ago, this Pitt team was kind of always fraudulent. They didn't really have a great win. I guess you could say it was West Virginia, probably their best win, to be honest, and that's a 500 team in the Big 12 now. So, yeah, it's just not – Pitt was just always fraudulent to me, and now I think Clemson's going to take it out on them. I hate that this spread jumped up. I would look at Pitt team total if it's still there. I haven't checked it this morning since he was announced out, but Pitt team total is at 20.5. I would almost check the under 20.5 there. Clemson kind of making a statement, probably need to blow teams out. They need to just get their way in the ACC championship game to have a chance. I don't think this one ends up too close. The number overall scares me away. But yeah, I think Clemson kind of rolls here.
Smitty?
Yeah, with the quarterback, I think Nick made good points there. That Pitt team, some weird wins. I mean, offense didn't look good against Syracuse. They, intercepted the quarterback and ran it back, I think, 3 times in the game. They've been really struggling. Clemson is very good on the road covering the spread here. With the quarterback being out, I think Pitt's in trouble today. I think Clemson puts it on them.
All right, boys, before we move to the next one, I actually just sent him a sponsorship request. Happy Dad. Not bad. It's gluten-free. It's on the watermelon. I might be the only one with a drink at this tailgate. I'm not sure. I
Oh
don't
no,
know.
we're good.
All right, there we go. I don't have a drinking problem. I've been joined, but it is
The
pretty good.
tailgate.
I'll say that. I didn't really know what to expect. I gotta give it to him. It's not bad. Not sweet. That's the thing. Not sweet. Sometimes the sweet gets a little weird. You get a headache. No, this is great. But we're gonna move on. The Arkansas Razorback himself still hasn't joined. I don't know. Maybe he just blew off the show. We'll get through it. Texas. Last time they were in Arkansas, and I think it was Sark's first year. I think Hudson Card was the quarterback. That's a name we're not talking about too much. Tristan Thompson, or not, Casey Thompson was the backup. I think
Tristan Thompson, yeah.
Yeah, well, Tristan Thompson might have been there too, But Arkansas, what are they? It's got up to 12 and a half at one point, I think. I think it's kind of floating between that 11 and a half and 12 and a half line. It almost seems like they're begging you to take Arkansas in this spot. Early on, I would have jumped all over it, especially the Arkansas. We saw the first few weeks. It's been a different team night and day. Give me your thoughts, Smitty, and then we'll go to you, Nick. Texas, Arkansas. Do you have a play? And if you don't, what would you lean?
I don't have a play in this game yet. I think a lot of people do like Arkansas on this. Again, I think it goes back. Pittman has good numbers here as a dog. The Arkansas team's just weird. I always have it's 1 week they look great, then the next they get blown out. I think this, if I would play this, I think I would take a chance with Arkansas in this spot.
Yeah, and that's what Ken alludes to here, which team's going to show up. Mm-hmm. It's really a flip of the coin. Like, they look like a team that could be ranked 1 week and then look, bottom tier the next. It's so hard to understand or to know what team you're getting. So, I mean, with that being said, what kind of where are you headed with that, Nick?
I played Texas at 11.5. I think Arkansas can kind of keep it close here for a bit, just from being like a little bit of home field, early kick. But I think Texas, we saw with their offense, they're finally healthy again. Blue in the backfield is 100%. We saw what they look like against Florida with Isaiah Bond back healthy. This offense is just, they're kind of ready to click again. Ewers had a couple games where he struggled. Oh, there it is, the hair
there
gel.
He is.
He found the hair gel. Hey, talking about Arkansas, right on time. I was just talking about how I'm picking against them. Texas minus 11.5. Go ahead.
Hello. Sorry. Thank you. Imagine just sitting and listening, waiting on your chance to go talk, and then it never comes. We are attempting to find the tailgate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is it. Hang on. I'm going to have to mute real quick so I can get in here and go sit up.
So he complains about not being allowed to talk and then tells us to mute him. Sweet.
Hey, this is his world. We're just living in it.
Yeah. So I was kind of done, but yeah, I think Quinn Ewers struggled for a few weeks. I think it was a good get right game last week against Florida. Perfect situation. Arkansas secondary. We saw what Jackson Dart is still throwing touchdown passes against this defense from 2 weeks ago. So I think Quinn Ewers, I think it ends up as a blowout. I know this was weird that it started 15.5, I think is where it opened up, or 14.5, early in the week. And now I got it down to 11.5. I don't know, unless I'm missing something. I don't know why so many sharps and big money is on Arkansas. I will go against them here. I just think Texas is flat out the better team. And we saw in the ranking, Texas has to play well.
Yeah.
Their best win right now is Vandy. They cannot afford a loss. If they lose, they're probably one of those 10-2 SEC teams that gets left out. Your best win cannot be Vandy, and you play one team in the top 25, which was Georgia, and get beat by 15. So yeah, I think Texas rolls here.
Sean laughing at Matt. That seems to be a regular occurrence here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Listen. I was trying to get into a tailgate, and they changed everything up, so I could not. So here, I'm reporting live on the scene. The player walkthrough is about to happen. And like Ken said, who knows what team we get? Is it the Arkansas that showed up and played well against Tennessee? Much to my demise. Probably because I bet on Tennessee. in that game. And I have once again, I bet Texas 12.5 last night, bet them 13.5 to open. I do like Arkansas in the first half. As we've seen time and time again, you're going to be able to know exactly how the game's going to play out, right? In the first couple drives, if Arkansas doesn't have it together, they're not going to figure it out mid-game. I promise you that. So watch the game, get ready for the tweet. If I say live bet Texas, do it early, do it often. That's about it.
Well, I'll tell you this. 12 o'clock's your benefit. It's a win-win. You either have all day to celebrate or win, or you have all day to figure out other bets and drink your sorrows away. So at least we're saving you a late night exorcism here. And with that being said, we've gotten the approval by Matt Grissom himself to move on to the next game.
Thank you. Thanks for waiting.
All right. We're
rocking my home field apparel shirt.
Home Field Apparel, we're going to talk about them. Great sponsors. As you can see in the bottom corner, we're presented by them. And great people. I love the tour they're doing. Hopefully, maybe we can jump on them next year, get some stuff in the works. I'm excited to bring them on for baseball, and we'll see what's going on. But we got some cool stuff in the works, so just stay with us, and I think you'll enjoy a little brand collaboration. But we're going to talk about the only game that matters on this slate. Reaffirmance that Billy Napier will be there next year. Got a couple 5-stars. LSU coming off a disgusting loss in Death Valley. Can the Tiger get up, get out of the cage, get ready for a fight? Feisty Albert the Alligator. Who am I kidding? It's probably LSU by 17. I'm just trying to motivate myself to get to tomorrow. That's just to be a Dolphins fan, so I got to live in the small wins there. But LSU, 22 ranked, playing at Florida in Gainesville. Initial line was Florida plus 7.5. It's down into the 4.5 right now. Our site has LSU winning by 5.25, less than a touchdown, more than a field goal, kind of that gray area in gambling. What LSU team shows up? I think it's, we bash Arkansas for the same comments, Texas, Georgia, but you could say the same about the LSU Tigers right now. Matt, give us your thoughts, then we'll go to Nick and Smitty for this.
Well, I think the defense of Florida is absolutely terrible. And the only way that LSU is going to not be able to put up points is if they keep the ball out of Nussmeier's hands. So DJ Lagway, hope you're playing. I need a lot of option reads because that's the one thing that LSU struggles with. You see it there, I think, 73rd? That text is really small on a phone. And defensive success rate. So keep the ball out in Nussmeier's hands. Make this a boring, drag-out game. I think that's how you beat LSU.
Smitty, and then we'll go to you, Nick.
Yeah, I'm on LSU in this. I think, again, Matt made a good point. They can't stop the quarterback run, but DJ's had a hamstring issue. Let's see. He's supposed to be playing, but I got to see how good he's going to be, how healthy he's going to be. That backup from Yale, that Warner, he's horrible. So let's get him some action here. High scoring over the last couple years in this series. I think it's 5 in a row. I think they're 9-3 and 3 ATS LSU. In the last 15 there too, but very high scoring if you look at the scores over the last couple of years too. I think LSU still is going to fight for something here. I think they get the win. Again, quarterback has to play well. Too many turnovers for LSU lately, but I think LSU is going to be okay in this spot.
Nick?
This would work so well if the wind would stop blowing my phone around. I'm sorry if I'm giving everybody the flash.
No, we don't hear.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Well, now we are. Yeah.
That's just waving.
Haven't played anything.
But
here.
I am 3 feet from a bar, so
We'll walk in.
Yeah, you might as well just go in. Let's get this atmosphere going.
Yeah, haven't played anything here. I lean LSU. Like you said, it started at 7.5. It's down to 3.5. I might end up buying this to 3. We'll see, I might see what I can get. My issue is I know DJ Lagway. They said he's going to start. like, what are the chances though he finishes the full game? That's what kind of worries me. Like that hamstring issue, he didn't just like walk off the field with like a pulled hamstring. He got carted off. Like it was like a Paul Pierce in a like in literally in a wheelchair moment. Like for some reason now he's ready to play 2 weeks later. I'm not so sure. And like Smitty said, that quarterback from Yale was just awful. We saw the last great pass offense they faced was Texas. Game was over by halftime. I lean LSU here, might play it at 3. LSU, like, I don't know. There should be enough pride kind of in that program they got rolled over by Bama. You hope they kind of answer and don't just like roll over and die like after their third loss and technically probably out of the playoffs. I mean, I know there's some ways they can get an SEC championship game, but everything needs to roll their way. But you hope there's enough pride. So I kind of lean LSU here, might play it at 3. Now that the line is there are 3.5 at some books, which is kind of crazy to me. Yes, Florida's been playing better and hard, but they didn't play hard last week. And I think part of it was knowing that, hey, this is Texas. We have no shot. Like, let's just get out of here healthy. It might be the same type of situation. So I don't know. I haven't played it yet, but I lean LSU.
Well, I'll give the end cap on this. I think Smitty's on something. There's been a lot of points the last several matchups. I think the over's in play. Florida's down. I think 3 starting defensive backs.
Yeah, starting all true freshmen in the secondary. Florida starting.
Yeah, like they've made big plays, but the problem is they're not consistent plays. But I also think Florida. So LSU struggles against the pass. I think Florida, even DJ's not going to be able to run as much, so that's going to hamper it because they're going to just pin the ears back and go after him. But I do think he's got the arm to, especially with Eli Badger coming back, DK, like those guys can run some deep routes. They can, they're shifty receivers. I think both teams can score here and maybe get over that. It's probably in the 60s, I think, is what's going to happen. Sean, always keeping your boy in check. Somebody's got to.
Always.
Just remember, we're all living in Matt's world. We're here, and it'll get you through the day.
I'm joined by a special guest, Big Red over here.
There he is, Big Red. 3.5 on Hard Rock if you're in Florida.
Or anywhere, Tennessee, it's available. Let me see what I could buy it to 3 is, because that's not bad.
All right,
I'll come back to
on that one.
Yeah.
Matt Lee got an early comment. Go Vols. Perfect timing to bring him in here. Number 7, Tennessee playing number 12, Georgia. Big matchup. Both of these teams cannot afford a loss. This is massive. Georgia needs to win this to create like a 9-way tie in the SEC. Tennessee hopes to knock off Georgia, take Georgia out of the question. Nico is playing. The Bear was wrong. Let's just lay it out right there. He's going to play. Beck, terrible. Let's lay that out there. Don't even try to save him. That said, I think Nick said it best in the recap. I think this is a lower scoring game because I think both defenses kind of keep each other in check. But I do think Georgia gets this win. I think they're more desperate than Tennessee right now. I think at some point this comes down to coaching. This reminds me of like the Texas-Georgia game. They're playing like this is a playoff game. And I think Georgia's defense is going to be able to deliver there. I don't think it's a blowout, but I think Georgia wins the game and they beat Heupel and they beat Nico. And that's just from inexperience. Nick, we'll start with you. Tennessee Vols. I can't tell if you're a Vols fan or a Notre Dame. It just depends on the question. So we'll start with you.
Notre Dame first, always.
All right.
But live in Knoxville, so around everything. But yeah, I took under 49.5 was definitely one of my top plays of the week. I think it's down to 46.5, 47. I think it's still playable there. But 45.5 is probably the lowest I would go. So definitely still playable at the number. I also took Tennessee plus 10 as soon as Nico was announced in. It's just one of those, like you say, low scoring games. Like if the total really ends up around 45, I don't see it being something like 35-10. Like I don't think it's a blowout. So that 10-point kind of, you give me double digits with the total this low, kind of in a good spot. Like Georgia has played 3 good halves this year. Like that's it. Like they have not looked good. Like they probably should have lost to Florida, who we just talked about. Mississippi State gave them a run, who everybody's just like treating them like a FCS team. Nico healthy. Dante Thornton, the number 1 receiver, he was kind of questionable coming into the week. He's going to play as well. So the Bear also wasn't playing. He is playing. So that's good to know. So, yeah, the 10 points was just too high. Love the under. Carson Beck issues. We saw, so like actual pressure-wise, Tennessee gets more pressure on the quarterback than Ole Miss does. So Tennessee can rotate more guys on the defensive line. We saw this Georgia offensive line was just in shambles last week. Tate Ratledge he's supposed to be a first-round draft pick at guard. He had to get pulled from the game because he couldn't block anybody because he's still not 100% healthy. He's supposed to start for Georgia. Let's see what he looks like. You give me James Pierce coming off one edge. That's just like scary. I think this could be one of those Carson Beck. You're going to see a ton of screen, like from both teams. You're going to see so many screen passes or like just wide receiver, like flare screens, like just to get the ball out of both these quarterbacks' hands very quickly. So it's going to be interesting to see what we have, who's going to make tackles. And I think this comes down to who makes a couple explosive plays, because I don't think either team is one of these offenses where it's like, I trust him to go 80 yards in 12 plays. It's going to be somebody makes an explosive. There's a 50-yard pass, something like that, because I think it's going to be low scoring. Both these defenses are great. So, yeah, I think I'm just excited for this game. I think it'll be very close.
Well said. I don't know if we can add anything to that, but Matt, we'll give it a shot. Matt, I don't know if you saw the comment, but
yeah,
our good friend Ed, I think you've experienced the shot train there in Omaha. So he saw it. He's loading up, and throw one down for us before.
Yeah,
we've
got some Texas fans over here that are passing around the little mini keg of Fireball. So that may be an afternoon thing. But as far as this game goes, I think Tennessee, if they can get after Carson Beck, I think they could pull the upset. I was on Georgia early, and I still think Georgia probably wins this game because it's a question of who do I trust more. But Kirby Smart's not playing in this game, and I don't really trust Carson Beck. But I'm hoping that they prove me wrong. They get the win today. But I'm not going to be surprised if Tennessee plays them close. That being said, I really like this under. Thanks to Nick. Really put me on it, taught me into it all week. But I think that is the game plan for both of these teams. Just make it ugly and try to drag this out, because you don't want to put a lot of faith in Beck. You don't want to put a lot of faith in Ian Maliava to get it done, put up points. So I think either team, this is probably going to hang around a touchdown game all game, and hopefully we can get a late field goal or something to get the coverage.
Smitty?
Yeah, a little home field apparel too. Let's go Tennessee. I agree with what they said. You look, Kirby Smart, very good numbers, ATS against ranked teams. Beck's been a mess last 6 games, throwing the ball to the wrong team every game. Georgia's 8-2 in the series, been really putting a whipping on them. I think it's a lower scoring. Tennessee, hasn't really moved the ball, but Nick has said this all year. Their defense is legit. They are very good. I think it's a lower scoring game. I have not played it yet, but I might jump on with the boys here. I know I won't get the number that they did, but I think it's a lower scoring game.
Sorry, Matt. I was your audio is good. I was booking the
Okay, I was wondering about the mini mic.
No, it sounds great. I was actually booking. I just took the under, Nick. If it loses, I'm coming after you. But we are going to move on. Ranked South Carolina 6-3, hosting Missouri. Been looking on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Brady Cook, game time decision officially for the paper. He is going to suit up for warm-ups. He is trying to play, is the source there. A, is he ready to play, or B, are they sick of Drew Pine? I think that's the biggest question. Like, is Cook actually healthy, or is it like 80% is better than Pine's giving us at 100? South Carolina, man, they've had some close games. They really could be 8-1. I mean, LSU, they had another close. Alabama, like there's no reason that they haven't, had better luck. Just 2 bad losses, 2 bad bounces. But here we are hosting. Give me your thoughts, Nick. We'll just run down the slate here. 11.5, I think, was the line.
13.5. 13.5, yeah.
13.5. Okay, yeah, it's climbed up. Our site has -9 South Carolina at home. Nick, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, Brady Cook sounds like he's going to give it a try, like you said. He also gave it a try a few weeks ago against Bama. It lasted a quarter. I don't know. His offensive line can't protect him, and he's very immobile. He's kind of like
Missouri,
a
South
quarterback.
Carolina.
He can run a bit,
Yep.
but I don't trust him to stay healthy for the full game. So this number is just too high for me. As low scoring, we mentioned this. This is going to be another low scoring one. A total of 41.5. I wanted to play the under, but when I saw that, this is one of those. Both these teams are kind of turnover prone. So that scares me away from taking an under of a total this low. You never know if there's a pick six or somebody gets lined up at their own 20-yard line from a fumble recovery or anything like that, and just leads to 7 points. So I stayed away from this one. Let's just Missouri, just go home. Eli Drinkowitz, we're still in line for the playoff. Stop. Nobody wants to see that. Just go, just get out of here. We also need this, at least I do, for my Missouri win total under. So that's another reason I'm staying away from this. But yeah, South Carolina, clearly the better team. Lenore Seller's fully healthy. You can see what he can do. He's going to be super exciting and probably in some talk for Heisman next year. Don't be surprised if he's in the top 5 kind of Heisman stuff next year. So yeah, South Carolina, better team. I think they take care of business here. But yeah, I just can't. 14 points, 2 touchdowns with a total this low is just a little too much for me. And can't trust Mizzou to cover 14 either. So staying completely away.
Matty Ice, what do we got on your opinion?
I think South Carolina rolls. I think Missouri is not very good. And what kind of Brady Cook do you get today, even if he plays? I know South Carolina's offense has struggled to move the ball, but I feel like Rocket Sanders is really coming to his own. Lenore Sellers doesn't have to do a whole lot. I feel like that's the benefit to the South Carolina offense. You can rely heavily on the rush. So I think Missouri, if Cook is in, they may be a little more competitive than the 13.5 point spread, but I think South Carolina probably wins this one pretty comfortably.
Matt, are you allowed
I'm going to go try to
Rocket
find
Sanders?
some Texas fans. What?
Are you allowed to speak his Rocket Sanders name where you're at?
Oh, yeah. We've totally forgotten about him now.
All right, Smitty.
Yeah, no play for me. I think Nick said it well. Again, this is a good South Carolina team. We've talked over the last couple of weeks. They've had some really tight losses to some good teams, but I think the spread's too high. The total's way too low, so it's a stay away from me.
All right, we're going to move on. Big Ten matchup, Wisconsin hosting number 1 Oregon. Nick's got some interesting news, so Nick, we'll start with you there. Our site has 14-point win. This is kind of fluctuated in that 13 to 14 point area, depending on what sports book you're on. Wisconsin looked like devastating injury to their starting quarterback, started to get things together. Now they've kind of fallen back off the map since the Penn State loss. Oregon coming in undefeated, 5-5 against the spread. Nick, why don't you start by giving us what you were talking about backstage, and then go into your outlook.
Yeah. So Sunday night or Monday, I took Oregon -14. I thought this line, from what I have, it should be 17.5, 18 points. It's actually gone the other way. And that's basically because Dan Lanning came out, I believe it was Wednesday night, and said he is going to, everybody that is, he basically said important, or I believe subsequential to their success moving forward, is going to be on a play count, basically a pitch count, as we call it in baseball, moving forward. So Jordan James, starting running back, who's been awesome all year, expected only to play the first half. He didn't mention Gabriel, so that might be kind of a score indicative type thing. If it's close or they're behind, he probably stays in. There's 2 offensive linemen who are battling injuries who are going to play, but probably only the first half. First round safety, they basically said he's only playing the first half. So this is one of these very interesting things that we wondered at the beginning of the year. We talked about this in kind of our preseason show, what this would look like with a 12-team playoff. And you kind of have some of these teams where you can look at it from both ways. You look at it like teams that are eliminated early, especially now with the transfer portal and NIL, how many of them are just going to quit and enter the transfer portal, versus you have these teams like Oregon. It's basically they're already a lock for the Big Ten championship. Even if they lose this game, they might fall to 4 or 5, maybe in the playoff rankings. So they're really at no risk of missing the playoffs. So this is the only time. This is also their 8th straight game, which is kind of crazy. So eight weeks in a row without a bye. So it kind of makes sense, and I get where Laney's coming from. And we wondered what was going to look like. This apparently is what it's going to look like. So I am very scared of my Oregon -14 play. I might try to hedge it. Kind of looking at it now, we'll see if I can find a way like to live bet this or something. Whether it become like if I find like a second half spread because of the news, but yeah, I was just surprised. Like this is like an NBA load management type of play that we haven't really seen in college football before and don't know how to prepare for it. You can't handicap for it because they says might play half, or they might play 3 quarters, or they might play 1 quarter. Like so, it's very hard. I have Oregon -14, and I'm just going to be holding my breath.
Smitty, boss Matt,
Yeah.
you're up.
Yeah, I took Wisconsin in this game. Yeah, I took Wisconsin +14 in this. You know, I took them at 2 against Penn State, and it was a tight game for a while. And then Penn State covered. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think Oregon wins the game, but you give me 14 points, I'm going to take it.
All right. Sent a text out to make sure Matt's still alive. He just kind of fell off there.
He went over and he ran his mouth to Texas people. That's what happened.
Yeah, he must have taken that fireball shot.
Apparently. Took him out. All right. Kansas, BYU. The Cougars. Trying to stay undefeated here. Man, what a Kansas. Big win last week. Can they bounce back? Go to Provo at night. What is this? 10:15. I don't know. I'll say this, and then I'll let you guys dive into it. It's weird that our site has them by 2 touchdowns, essentially. The books have not moved off 2.5 to 3 points. What do they know that we don't? Because I jumped all over BYU in Provo at night. It's one of my plays. I'll talk about at the end. Am I missing something? Or did they think Jaden Daniels just woke up like he's God? Because it's not adding up. I don't know if they haven't watched the rest of the season. Smitty, I'm going to go to you first. What's your rationale in this game? Why do you think the books, in comparison to our site, are so vastly different? And then we'll go to you, Nick.
Yeah, I know Nick's happy because it's a 10-15 game. Nick has something to watch. Has something to watch at night,
I had a panic attack when the last game was at 8 o'clock.
I know.
Yeah,
I mean, you watch it, then you go right into Cinemax late at night. I love it, man. You got a lot of action tonight.
Oh, I'm old. I have kids. I need.
I am, man. That's late for me. I don't know if I can stay up past that. I mean, maybe halftime. If I can get to halftime, I'll be happy with that.
I haven't played me up till 1 a.m. watching football. I love it.
I haven't played this yet. I really do. I gave out Kansas last week and they beat Iowa State. It, like Q said, this hasn't moved. It's been 2.5, 3. I think it's at 2.5 right now. I did see a stat today on, and I think I don't want to steal Nick's thunder here because I think he said this yesterday on with Jeff's show. But over the last 50 games, somebody posted this today, 68% over with Kansas. They play a lot of overs. And I think this one, the conditions don't look bad. I think in the high 30s, low wind. I think this could be a high scoring game. Daniels has played well. I said it last week. I think Kansas is really starting to find it right now. I love the head coach. I think they're playing hard. Good running back. Quarterback's playing well. BYU, I think it's one of those things that a couple weeks ago at home it was a night game, I think on a Friday night against Oklahoma State, they should have lost. They've been just so many tight games. I think that's the problem. I think they have a good team. Right now, I'd stick with my Kansas team, but man, I'd look at that over. I'm on that over right now, but I'll let Nick go because I think he talked about it yesterday.
Yeah, this is one that I gave out. I gave out BYU on Sunday night at -2.5. This is one I thought was going to move the other direction. There's been a lot of sharp money coming in on Kansas, and this is another one where it's like, am I missing something? But I'm going to trust what I know, what I've seen on the field, what my numbers say, and that's everything points to BYU. Like Kansas, I get they're 132nd in the luck ranking. But it's also luck. Like you could say they're 3-6 for a reason. Like close games, they have not been able to pull them out. But I will say recently, and it's a reason. Like I believe all 4 of us had some play on Kansas versus Iowa State last week. Jalen Daniels was supposed to be a Heisman candidate at the beginning of the year. he finally is looking like it. Like this offense is kind of clean finally. So yes, I'm with Smitty. Like my favorite play on this is the over. I took that one. That's one of my top 3 plays of the weekend. I got it at 55.5. Yeah, I think this game ends up in the 60s. Like we've seen BYU's offense can flat out score. Utah, that's just a different story. I can almost like when I like basically was handicapping for this week, I ignored last week's game because that's one of those. This is Civil War. It's at Utah. It's late at night. Weird stuff always happens in that game. So let me look at what happened the rest of the season. This BYU offense has been very good. We also saw what happened last time they had a game in Provo at 10-15. They whooped Kansas State. Like that game was not competitive at all. And I think Kansas State is a lot better than Kansas is. So yeah, give me BYU minus 2.5. I think this is way too small. If Kansas wins, hey, I'll just chalk it up. I'll wear it. But I think if anything, this total hits. I think we see a lot of points in this one.
Yeah, I think you said it best. Just ultimately, and I alluded to it, you got to go with what you've seen, right? And we've seen inconsistency on Kansas's part. We've seen consistency on BYU's part, consistently winning the games. And look, when a team's 9-0, playing at 3-6 at home, if you lose it, right, you tip your cap. That's the same thing. You force the team to drill 3-pointers, they hit them. There's nothing you can do. So I don't think you're wrong for that approach. If you justify your side of Kansas like Smitty, I also don't think you're wrong because I think all of us preseason were like, floor is 8-4 for this Kansas team. The talent's there. So no fault to you on what side you are. That's going to wrap up the games we want to preview. Obviously, we have the best bets to go over. I will say this. I apologize. One of my plays actually already kicked off last night. Typically, we have a Thursday or Friday show. It's just scheduling. It didn't work out. So, again, I apologize. But I give you 2 out of 3 there. Best bets recap. I'll start it off, and I'll let you guys go. All right. Last night, I had Washington, Georgia money line, right around even money. Washington obviously took care of business. Georgia, I think Georgia wins a close game. That's why I took a money line. I think Nick, you're on there with the +10 if you got that line with Nico news coming out for Tennessee. But I do think ultimately Georgia wins at home and keeps, an 8-2 record and keeps their hopes alive. BYU money line, I just touched on it. I think they're the better team. I'm going to ride the hot hand. If I lose, I'm going to tip my cap to Kansas. Again, I was right there saying Kansas 8-4 floor, 10-2 ceiling. So I understand if I lose that, why I lost it. Nebraska, I'm going to say this. It was 9 when I got to it. I bought it up to +10 at -139. It's down to +7. USC starting Maeva. How is that?
Yeah, Jordan Maeva. Yeah,
Maeva. Okay, so he's playing Miller Moss. We thought was going to be the guy. He looked good against LSU early in the season. Had some hiccups. It's just not working out. I think at this point in the season, you've got the Dana Holgerson news. I think Matt Rule understands they've got to, electrify or wake up that offense. I think it happens here. What do they have? 5 wins, I believe. This gets them bowl eligible. Yep. I took them last week. Same thing, same thought process. I think they get it done here and at least cover the spread for me, if not win outright. I think USC's in a lot of trouble here. Their guy was Miller Moss. He's not there. I think the season's imploded there for Lincoln Riley. I don't think he's looking for a new job, but I think he's kind of writing off the rest of the season. Nick, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to you, Smitty, to round it out.
Yeah, best bet is the Tennessee-Georgia under. We covered that at nauseum. I don't think we can really anything else to say on that one. 49.5, that under. I just don't see either team here exploding offensively. So I think this ends up being an ugly good game. Not like one of those ugly Michigan games that stays low scoring where it's actually ugly. This is going to be an ugly, pretty game because it's actually good defenses. Yeah. So, give me the under 49.5. Also, I am on the Kansas BYU over 55.5. That's another one I'll absolutely love that. Like I said, I think BYU wins. That's why I have them -2.5. But I think if anything, we can trust both these offenses. Weather looks nice. It's a little chilly, but kind of that Provo, it's like a dry cold. There's no wind. Yeah. It shouldn't affect either offense
Kansas
or anything.
Used to it.
Yeah. Oh, Kansas. Oh my gosh. Yeah. From somebody who lived in Kansas for a year, trust me, that's like the coldest place on earth when it's in the winter. It's brutal. So yeah, they're used to it. And then SMU team total over. I got it 35.5 still available. I love this one here. We've talked about it. This 12-team playoff style points matter. Maybe not as much for SMU, considering if they win ACC, they're in. But ranking wise, it makes a difference. And I think they're getting a Boston College team who, what's their locker room like right now? Castellanos just got benched last week, and now he's in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's been planning on transferring for 2 weeks. So that was kind of why there was like some news coming out, and that's why he got benched. So I'm expecting some turnovers here. You have a quarterback for Boston College who has never started a game before, and this is just a big game, bad atmosphere to go into too. Like SMU, that place is like quietly a tough place to play.
Yeah.
Like
small stadium, loud crowd.
Right outside Dallas. It's sort of like a little smaller version of Oregon. Like it's right on top of you. Like the stands are right on top of you. Especially with a one-loss team playing for something. I think you get turnovers. I could see a pick six. I could see like a kickoff return, fumble return. I think we get some free points here. Kevin Jennings has been awesome since being started and named the starting quarterback.
He's stolen the job.
Yeah. Oh, flat out. Definitely should have been the starter all year. And I get where they were coming from. Obviously, the guy last year went nuts in the year. But yeah, Kevin Jennings is the guy. 35.5, I think, is too short here for Boston College defense that has not been great all year long, and an SMU offense that's out to prove something. So yeah, 35.5 team total over on SMU.
Smitty Bucks, round it out.
Well, it's not on my card. Well, it's on my card, not one of my top threes here, but I agree with you, Q. I jumped on Nebraska. I got them at plus 7.5 today. USC 2-8, last 10 home conference favorite. They're just not a good team now going to a backup. I agree with you on that. So here we go. Let's go over 32.5 Western Kentucky today against Louisiana Tech. It's a noon game, but they've been scoring a lot. 41, 31, 31, 44. I think the last game Louisiana Tech gave up in the 40s too. I think they score a lot of points today in that. Let's go Northwestern, 28.5. Wrigley Field. It's going to be windy. Could be gusts in the 20s. And I think it's just a good spot. I know Northwestern's not a very good team, but they kind of play ugly, slow. I think this is a spot too. Ohio State has Indiana next week, so they might be looking ahead at the bigger game. Then they got Michigan in 2 weeks. And I know it's not a good Michigan team, but it's still Michigan. The team, they're going to be fired up to play that game too. So they might be looking at those two games. Best bet, I'm going West Virginia money line. Starting quarterback should be back. I saw a little stat yesterday. Out of the last 10 in this, the home team is 9-1. So let's go West Virginia and get a big win there.
All right, our guy Ken, that he likes Tulane Navy over 50.5. That one's tough. Like
I would say careful there, just because I believe last I saw it was like 15 to 20 mile an hour winds, which doesn't affect Navy a whole lot. But that's also the Navy quarterback. I still don't think he's fully healthy.
I don't either. That's exactly where I'm going with it.
Yeah, I don't hate it. And then Tulane, 20 mile an hour winds. Can you throw the ball like they like to do? I don't hate it because this is like I would almost prefer something like I was close to playing this Tulane spread because this is also a team like you think about it, if Boise loses a game,
got exposed.
I think so too. Boise loses a game, Tulane's next up. Like if Tulane runs the table, they're that group of 5 representative, I think. And Boise, I know I'm on San Jose State this weekend. I know Matt's on San Jose State. I got plus 14.5. I'm not sure what Matt got it at, but careful, Boise. Like if you haven't seen San Jose State, Ken Niumatalolo has taken over and is not running a triple option. He's running an actual offense. Nick Nash, fun to watch. You want to see a first round receiver. I guarantee if you haven't watched, like you probably haven't seen a San Jose State game, you will know who Nick Nash is as soon as you turn on the TV. That's one of those like where it's like, okay, this guy's in a group of 5 and he stands out on the field. This is a future NFL star. Probably going to win. What's the receiver? Blitnikoff for top receiver. Yes. I think he ends up winning it just because Trey Harris has been hurt for the last 3-4 weeks. So Nick Nash is probably going to win that receiver for San Jose State. Careful, Boise, because San Jose State's going to put up some numbers tonight.
I think
that's a really great one.
I kind of Boise eat the clock and just grind it out.
I think they're going to score. I could see the over in this one. I think it's going to be a high scoring game because I agree with you. San Jose State's quarterback's good. They moved the ball good against. I know it was Oregon State and I lost that. But Oregon State, like I said, too, was going up and down the field on them. Just couldn't score any points last week to lose that bet. But yeah, great wide receiver. Keep an eye. Boise puts on a lot of points, but they can give up some. I think it's a high scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that wraps up our show. I know we're coming up on the 11 o'clock hour. People have to go see the new College Game Day Golden Retriever now that Ben's gone. Ben, it's sad, but hey, we move on. Just ask Georgia. They're about 19 Uggas deep. Go catch the rest of the College Game Day. Go run your errands before noon. I know Matt lost that Arkansas crowd started coming in, the Texas crowd. He lost signal, so we lost him, but he'll be back with us for the recap show.
Well, they're still working on like service and Wi-Fi in Fayetteville. Like they're so far behind the times out there. Like
they're running on Linkstar, Starlink, whatever it is.
Let's give him
like
a little bit of a break.
78.
Yeah, he's on like 3G, I think.
Yeah. So, all right, for myself, Nick, Smitty, we can speak for Matt. Enjoy the college football games. Season's almost over, boys. Season's almost over. Silver lining. Stay closer to college baseball where we crush it. Just stay with us. We've had a lot of fun. We're going to continue to have a lot of fun through the playoffs, SEC, ACC, championship games. So,
hey, college hoops. College hoops.
College hoops. I don't know if we're going to be bringing anything full time there, but I can say this. It's on the 2025 slate for sure, but Smitty plays it. Nick plays it. Get in our Discord. Interact with us. If there's something you like that we do, please tell us. If there's something you don't like, please tell us. We're all pretty honest and open guys. We take feedback. College basketball's on the slate. Just be patient. There's only 4 of us. And, we're going to keep grinding out this college football thing. But I will be posting. I did some futures in college baseball. So I think me, Nick, maybe we'll do a little preseason show, get the crowd fired up or something, because I just put in a couple bets. But to the 120 of you that joined us, we appreciate it. If you don't like this time slot, let us know. If you love it, let us know. We're here for you guys. We want to grow this thing. So with that being said, we'll see you Monday. If I know what I'm doing.